Was asked to share a tip for confidence or maybe a mindset shift in that area yesterday on a networking panel. And what I said seemed to really resonate with folks. I must admit, I don't even think about confidence. So I figured, hey, why not provide that same information here to a larger audience? Maybe you'll get some value out of it. We're going to talk about a handful of things. So the first thing, we're going to just define terms. I think I have a slight distinction there that could be really helpful. The second thing is I want to talk about the detriment of the miracle solution in the type of work we do, because I think there's some real drawbacks from that we need to consider. I want to talk about being nice to yourself, but in a slightly different way than what you might have heard. And then lastly, we'll talk about an alternative approach to actually working with clients that could feed back in a more positive way for you. So 4 things I want to jump in right away. Confidence. A lot of times what people are chasing is a feeling of empowerment. And that's great when you have it. I would offer that you could always just improve your ability to tolerate when things don't go well and all the accompanying emotions that you experience. You know, when things go wrong, you might feel some doubts, some insecurities, but really as you get better at tolerating those things and continue to move forward, it's like they just don't matter. Like, I have things go wrong pretty consistently. I don't even really recognize them. The sting of that is so minimal because I'm so used to solving problems and I've been doing it for a while now. So this is always available to you. And this kind of feeds into the second point about the detriment of the miracle solution. I'm sure you've either had a client and they've had a miracle solution breakthrough, or maybe you've had one working with another hypnotist. And if you're stuck in this area, it's like, you know, you're thinking, well, maybe this problem's really, really bad for me, or, you know, who knows what's in your head exactly. But to the extent you're looking for a miracle solution and you've pursued that and it has not arrived, that might suggest that there's a different course of action you can take. And if it's readily available, like the one we just talked about, sort of pursuing determination, drive, and maybe a good way to would be to say resilience, right? Your ability to tolerate things when they don't go as planned, and all the emotions you feel as a result of that, that's always available to you. And the more you do it, it's like a muscle that's going to get stronger and stronger. You'll become more effective at it. So this is kind of cool. It's almost like if you were going to like invest more resilience into the bank of resilience. I don't know why I did that. This is a silly metaphor. I think you get the idea. But over time, you're going to accumulate this ability, and it's like, who cares, right? Things are going to go wrong and you won't even really notice it. And I think that might be just a little bit more of a pragmatic and practical way to approach things that you can do right now. The third thing I think I mentioned was being nice to yourself. So look, you got to do this. You're on a journey. And if you're thinking from the standpoint of like, when I arrive there, I'll get this, that's fine. But along this journey, if you're looking up to gurus and people that have achieved the things you want to achieve, you could almost hear the hesitation in my voice here. It's like sometimes what you'll do is you might say, well, they probably went through something similar, and you'll use the journey they may have went on and the emotions that they experienced along the way, the doubt, the insecurity, whatever. You might say, so therefore I can feel legitimate about my struggle right now. I don't think that's silly, right? Like, you can just feel authentic about the way you do now. You can just acknowledge your feelings. You can just say, hey, this is harder than I thought. I don't know. Sometimes I doubt I can do it. I'm going to keep moving forward, right? You don't need anything to legitimize that because it's your journey. So I would say, you know, this is a point where you need to be nice to yourself about this and understand, like, you're doing something for the first time. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be so much learning that's going to take place. You don't even know what you don't know yet. You know, if you're shooting video for the first time, it's like, you know, and it's a new app on your phone. Maybe you've never used TikTok before. You don't even know where the buttons are. You know, you don't even know what all the features are. You don't know what's going to play well there, what isn't. So it's like there's just so much out there for you to learn. And the cool thing is, human beings, we're so smart, we just learn without even realizing it. We pick up stuff unconsciously first, then it becomes, you know, afterward we go, wow, right? So the unconscious mind learns the stuff first. It happens that way. So enough about that, though. The fourth thing is an alternative way of working with people. I think there's some real usefulness around, depending on how you approach working with clients. Some folks really like to build expectation with a client. Hey, this is it. The moment's arrived. When you're on the other end of this, all your problem is solved. I think that's fine, and I think that can help. That's almost like a placebo nature to the work we do. I actually like to work differently. I like to only acknowledge the reality of what's occurring with that person. And as we do that, we're just creating a space for their mind to generate solutions. And then we allow the integration phase to occur. So that's why my sessions are so quick, right? We create this massive breakthrough for somebody. And sometimes it's like a gentle understanding, but they look at themselves and the problem differently. It doesn't have to be this like radical epiphany. It doesn't really matter, right? The breakthrough itself is what matters, and then the change process is over time, because the lack of confidence is a symptom, right? That's not the real problem. See, this is where I think as hypnotists we all know this, but then it's so easy to confuse ourselves, especially when it's happening to us. We're like, I gotta deal with this symptom, but we're thinking I got a problem. So understanding that there's a bit of a journey to this thing, and that if you're working with clients in that way, it's a lot easier to feel confident because you can just encourage them like, hey, the most important work we do is after the session when these changes process and integrate. Your unconscious mind is going to continue to work on this. This is what it does. So I think that almost like you become more confident just through understanding a more natural role you have in the change work process, right? You can't quit smoking for that person. You can't go to the gym for that person. You can't diet for that person, or whatever your niche is, right? They have to do it. So understanding that they have to do it means, I don't want to say you're kind of off the hook in that regard. You have to help them create the breakthrough where they can make new choices. So this is just a completely different way of approaching, and confidence becomes very easy because as you build that insistence that it's their responsibility to take control of their life. It's like now the mind isn't confused about this, and they really can't resist you because you're not doing anything except creating the space for them to create a better understanding in that way. So there's a lot of different things here I went over. If you have more questions you want me to follow up with another video, fire away. I didn't realize how big of a thing this is in our industry, and I'm happy to continue to talk about it. And so I would say follow me on the different social media platforms. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Right? I'm posting a lot of videos there lately. We're really building up the content. I've almost got like a library of resources available for you there to continue your development. And I do have a 2-day training coming up. If you're interested in that, go to vincentbergance.com. Pay once. You get to come to all future live trainings. That's pretty cool, right? So I want you to have an opportunity to saturate yourself in this type of change work process so that your instincts just flourish, right? And then pretty soon you realize you're doing it and you're like, hey, that's cool, I'm doing it. And then later you're like, I don't even know I'm doing it, and just creating breakthroughs. This is incredible. You'll get to go through a really cool journey with that, and there's stuff beyond that too that's even more exciting. So yeah, take a look at that. If you have questions about that, shoot a message to me too, I guess. So, all right, take care, everybody. Have a great day.